Welcome back, everybody, to Big versus HOTU, and we're already starting off hot with Anubis. A little bit of action towards B main, while Deity and Josh bringing you the action.
Well, the Glock's pressing forward all the way down canals already, as Keto about to take first contact, and, well, it goes quite nicely for him. Big headshot showing that he's keeping up his form from that first map. Presses further forward, Case fully blinded. Keto's just farming right now, but nitzie pulls the numbers back just for a moment, not for long. And swiftsteel left in a 1 versus 3. We didn't even get to catch most of that. That was just pure chaos. But yeah, we were on Keto cam for the whole of it. tabseN will finish things off though, and Big put their first on the board.
And they desperately need it, right? They... starting off this game, I sort of had this idea that if HOTU wanted to close it out, they'd probably have to skip Anubis and make sure that they get the first and third maps. And I think Big definitely do have this Anubis pick to rely on. They can kind of fall back into it, maybe reset to 1-1. But now that they've lost the first map, now that that context is present, suddenly even this map is going to give them a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, it absolutely will. They're going to be coming into this. Still, I think an element of frustration from that first map. I said it at the time as well, right? These guys are very, very experienced players. So they've been in plenty of situations where things haven't gone their way and they've had to mentally reset. And it's not like they're these sort of young players stepping up to the pro scene for the first time. But they had some very frustrating rounds. That first map for them was a very frustrating map as a whole, I guess. And yeah, that's definitely still going to be somewhat present here on Anubis, but a much better start for them. Cleaning things up over towards the B-bomb site. Sorry, the A-bomb site. And yeah, they should be able to take this one without too many casualties. Case and mizu kind of hunting a little bit here, but yeah, with a force buy in play, this hasn't been great for HOTU.
Yeah, certainly not a lot you can expect on a force buy. I mean, it's nice to have that expectation, but you can't really always make that guarantee happen.
I mean, they did it a whole load of times on Mirage, so at the start of the round, you definitely couldn't count them out, but after losing those initial duels on A, it was definitely round over. So Big 2-0 should be comfortable for a third here as well, as HOTU have just got no money to come into this one with. Yeah, a Deagle, okay, and a 5-7. So a couple of pistols, a little bit of util invested, but nothing too substantial. And Big kind of giving their opponents a taste of their own medicine. They're saying, this is Anubis, this is our turf. We are going to take those early rounds.
And it's nice to see that change of pace, right? We've seen a lot of chaos on that first map, and just sort of see the change of pace, allow these players to rack up some of these initial rounds without too much of an issue. Kind of brings us back to more familiar waters, but faveN getting a chance to play around with the again here. Racked up some money with the Mac 10, although had a bit more of a chance of potentially cleaning up a little bit more than that. Big 3-0, and this is where the action materializes.
Yeah, it's where the big guns come out, and Big actually playing somewhat of a bonus here. Couple of Galils still in play. In fact, I say a couple, there's actually 3 of them up against these 4 M4s. The AWP on Gokushima, he's kind of thrown himself into this. Could have done with a kill or 2 just to give him that extra few bucks to buy himself either a helmet or some util. The fact that there's 3 players without helmets here on this defense actually makes those Galils not too much of a contingency. Round number 4, worth its weight in gold here, though, for HOTU. And you can see Big just kind of tap on the brakes a little bit in this one. Making their way through middle, uncontested again here from the defense, and it gives Big a whole load of space. Oh, wow. Come on.
Oh, yeah. tabseN being able to catch swiftsteel in the back of the head means that suddenly they only have to contest against 1 player here on the safe side. Nitzie, though, makes quick work of them, and he's still being a menace around the smoke until that nade takes care of him. 3-on-3 now. tabseN becoming a force to be reckoned with once more, but he still has some dirty work to clean up, which he's unable to. faveN reviews his position without being able to capitalize on Case, who turns around and lands in between the eyebrows. Krimbo now in a 1-on-2 with an A1. Not the ideal weapon you'd want to have an AK here, but does tuck himself all the way into CT. I'm not sure if he realized he's had that much before, but now that he's missed his shots, suddenly they have an opportunity and the flames will consume him. What a round from Case.
Wow, yeah, that is really on Case's shoulders there, and to be honest, I don't think that was a great round from HOTU. Obviously, a brilliant recovery towards the end of it, but how that started off was just completely dire. Giving up mid-control like that and just playing the bomb site so exposed, it's not... Anubis is a very, very different map to Mirage, right? It might look the same, it might look all dusty and sort of Middle Eastern, but it's not. It's not the same map as Mirage. And on Mirage, both these teams were very, very happy to give up mid-control on their CT side and just play sort of one player maybe towards jungle, just watching top con, and then their A-site player either playing under balcony or maybe towards the CT spawn, just not exposed from connector, right? But giving up mid-control like that, giving Big so much space, and playing in exposed angles on the A-bomb site, that is a recipe for disaster. And disaster might have just struck again. tabseN, beautiful headshot and a nade to follow up. That's a great start here for Big.
Question is whether or not they're going to be able to convert on this impressive start. Starting to creep towards B now. Not committed just yet. swiftsteel dropping down from the bridge is able to bring the numbers back together, but Krimbo slowly opening up that A site with a buddy of his has also warranted the bomb to start to rotate over, and it's pretty much theirs for the taking. They don't really have to contest for it whatsoever. And the CT rotations are very fast because this map inherently incentivizes it. Now, by the time nitzie starts to make himself relevant, they're already going to start to get the bomb down, but at least he's gotten their foot through the door.
A little bit more here to work with for HOTU. Again, faveN's in a brilliant position to cut off these rotations, though. They're entertaining the idea that he's here, but he still wins his gunfight. Hyped hits another shot, and this really will count HOTU out of this one. Despite the fact that they had the man advantage, despite the fact that they found the opening kills on the duels. Big are going to be able to put a fourth on the board and really just solidify this lead that they've managed to take. They're looking like a new team. They're looking like a much, much better side here on this map.
One thing I'm very interested in seeing is how much of that a recent meta shift on Anubis is going to affect these teams, because realistically speaking, when Anubis came out, and even up until very recently, it was a very T-sided map, and teams were sort of just scrambling to put together enough rounds on the CT to survive making it to the T side, right? But in the major, a lot of teams were able to adapt a bit more, and although it's still not CT-sided just yet, it's still a lot more CT-sided. You know, probably gonna put it at like 40 to 60, maybe make the argument that a 10-5, 9-6 half is about as even as it can possibly get. Question is, has that sort of trickled down into these teams yet? Because, you know, Big, they were potentially a contender for the big games as well. So obviously, you know, they've been watching all of these matches. They've seen how these teams have adapted. I just want to see if that quickly trickles into their gameplay as well, both for HOTU and Big. But it would be very impressive if HOTU were able to adapt that quickly as well.
Boost over the smoke, hyped. Trying to take a bit of ground. That's huge from Case again. Just doesn't miss. And that hero rifle merits them the opening. Now, unfortunately for them, the gun that they've dropped isn't retrievable for now. Deagle desperate to hit ahead. Krimbo take down to 4 HP and sort of backs off of this fight a little bit. This is a good start for HOTU.
Steal, that P250 up close could be a menace. Now, I'm not sure if they spotted him as they were crossing over towards the pillar, because the flashbang made it a little bit of a spot. nitzie is able to get the first one. swiftsteel, unfortunately, the bomb being right in front of him. Also, tunnel visions them into him. mizu coming in from the back lines also has some support in the form of Case with an AK. Definitely a very doable prospect here for HOTU.
Yeah, especially considering this bomb still needs to go down. Hyped. Oh,
Ooh.
just trying to take a bit of space, trying to get a fight in here, knowing that there's a double flank in place. If he could win that duel, then it gives them a load of options. But ultimately, it just ends up dropping the bomb in no man's land. And the AWP put to amazing use. Once again, a scrappy round where there isn't too much invested. There's only those 2 weapons saved from the last and an eco around it. But the heroes shine. And they're able to pull it off. 4-2, and what a great position to be in.
I'm not sure if we can sort of paint the narrative of the 2-1 anymore. HOTU looking a lot more comfortable on Anubis than I honestly anticipated. Slow traversal from the T's, who slowly just racking up some utility to try and gain some space towards middle. HOTU playing it very conservatively. You don't really see that too often, right? You see a lot of mid-contests, you see a lot of those shenanigans where they're getting aggressive, but not here.
Well, here come the Tech-9s. Gokushima getting things opened up onto tabseN. 45 seconds left. And the pressure somewhat on here for them to make a move. And the bomb over towards B main as well. Hasn't really got time to make that lengthy rotation back around to pull this off. So they have to commit to the fight. Keystone Tech-9 goes huge again, but it's only good for one as Case doubles up. Opportunity, a window here for the bomb to be planted, and faveN fights off all the defenders.
Oh!
How does he find another? He was mid-reload. A massive whip from swiftsteel. Gokushima's got it all on his shoulders. Nice shot, though.
He's able to bring it down to a one-on-one, but Hyped is just holding an angle. Gokushima, does he get the drop on him? Missed shots from Hyped. Oh man, some of the slump from Mirage carrying over into Anubis, and that is a big opportunity to be missed. Gokushima able to close it out 1 versus 2. And that doesn't even come off the back of Gokushima sort of doing anything crazy, right? First kill, he has his knife out, gets enough time to switch over to the deagle and then 1-tap. Second kill, peeks out, looking at the wrong position, just gets whiffed on and gets enough time to make the adjustment to his crosshair. How does this happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Whiffs from both parts that round. The fact that faveN's got away with a triple like that is unreal, especially that third kill. Not one that he should be winning. And then, yeah, Gokushima should have just been taken out. He's walking along with his knife out, and as you say, he's got to pull out the deagle. It's got to do the little spinny animation. I mean, he should have been dead to rights. Instead, Big now down to basically nothing. A couple of deagles in play, but it won't be Tech-9s and armor like we saw in the last. Oh, okay. Maybe that's enough. Keto still fired up. He's still hitting these big entries. And that'll be a rifle for them here as well.
If they can take care of Swift, suddenly the world is their oyster, but that op shot hasn't connected. Now Swift realizes that that op might have been collected by a second player, but Hyped simply gets caught off guard by nitzie moving into the angle as well. There's a third wielder of Arthur's sword, and Krimbo will finally be the one mighty enough to pull it out of the rock. tabseN trying to make some quick work happen with the deagle as well, but it's still a 3 versus 3, so the CTs are very much still in a strong position. tabseN finally connects a shot, but Swift is continuing to bring the numbers back every time they start to lose them. 33 seconds, and now the T's have to make a move.
Orb still in play. faveN doesn't want to aggress further forward to risk his life in pursuit of a rifle as they start to work back towards the B site. How does faveN hit that shot? It's ridiculous. And it gives them a lifeline in this one. mizu Should be able to rotate just before that bomb gets planted. Time is of the essence, and he's able to deny it. Krimbo making a whole load of noise. Can't afford to shift for it. Has to grab that bomb. Has to commit to the plant. Fakes it in pursuit of the frag. And mizu will be able to take him out. Time is his best friend in that round to allow them to tie things up. But my goodness, Big. They get that one as close as it really can come, considering they were on a full eco. So even though they'll be a little bit bummed out that they weren't able to win it, that is a very successful round with no investment.
Honestly, though, HOTU's having such a decent performance on the CT side already. Being able to equal up the numbers and potentially nudge Big into economic collapse in the next round. If they end up taking out this one, that will be very impressive.
It's back onto the buy for them. A couple of these guys, but firepower has been their best friend. Big opening kill for Mass, trying to press forward. nitzie does get a little bit of information, but it won't be the kill he needs. And with tabseN still farming towards middle, kills need to come in response, and they need to come soon. Bomb's starting to work its way around to A. mizu's in a good position, but timing everything here for him.
I really respect the fact that nitzie decided to back off. You know, didn't press forward, didn't try to rush the issue whatsoever, realized that he's got a very decent opportunity. Ooh, scratch that thought. tabseN and Hype going wild, and although nitzie did try and force something out this time around, not really a whole lot you can do when you're stuck with a FAMAS against score.
Again, has a decent crack at it, but it's not going to go his way. Big are able to take 5, and I'm very surprised that that AWP is ready for that fight. The aggressive play towards the B site. Hyped. Yeah, had his wits about him. So the lead taken here by Big, but still back and forth, still contentious, and a force buy here for HOTU. They're not willing to sort of drop the ball yet. They're not willing to roll over and let their opponents take any further of a lead here. Not just yet, not considering how successful these low force buy rounds have been. So mizu's going to jump right into a FAMAS. Gokushima with his scout. He's found himself quite a few kills with this weapon throughout this series so far. And everybody else with the pistols, a little bit of util to work with as well. So a few flashes to accompany some of these peaks. We'll see AKs all round for the other side of things. Maybe a bit of a tempo change here for Big. We'll see. They've been quite aggressive towards middle. They've actually been quite commanding with taking these fights in mid, winning them, and then with that map control, they've kind of got that of being a bounce between each side. And that's something that they've been working really, really well.
Wanting to have a relatively easy round this time around, just moving in, getting those kills comfortably. Case obviously still wants to make it as tough as nails, but it isn't really going to amount to much. 6-4, and Big are now actually making themselves very comfortable. The money is going to break down for HOTU. It's going to be on about $2,000 a pop, so not going to be a buy in any capacity probably. Yeah, not a single one of them has enough money to really warrant much of a purchase. I can kind of see why Gokushima goes for a deagle, maybe just to try and get a cheeky shot off, but again, less than optimal. Quick stack over to the B site now. The AK is wanting to simply run into it, nade. Chucks down the HP of Gokushima to nail it, and mizu will be caught in the ladders as well. Just a quick chance for the AKs to turn it into a firing range and getting some confidence back for Big after what happened to them on Mirage. But still, mostly a game that is back and forth. Still very under control for both teams and can go either way. Now, this is going to be one of the biggest rounds, though. I think both teams definitely recognize that this CT side economy is hinging on collapse right now. So for HOTU to be able to carve this one out suddenly puts them in contention for having a decent CT side. Just having that 5 to 6 round mark makes it so much easier once you do get onto the terrorist side.
faveN's in a good position here. The M4 starts to work his way around the top of the smoke. tabseN reads it like a book. And Keto takes another. All of a sudden, this one falling apart as well. Gokushima says, well, you know what? I either go big or go home in a scenario like this. And he's sent packing. swiftsteel, nitzie. Not a whole lot more to bring into this one. The M4s will have to be carried into the next round. Big will take an 8. Yeah, they're starting to pull away a little bit from this one.
Yeah, not a single kill being collected by HOTU defense. Everyone just crumbling across the board. Not a single duel, nothing. Oh, what's going on? Not sure why tabseN didn't plant. Okay. Is that what happened to Hyped on Mirage?
I think it was actually... it gives me a few seconds to talk about this, right? If I remember correctly, faveN jumped on the plant and he had enough time. He got on it in 4 seconds. Then somebody started pushing around the triple box and was potentially going to kill him. And he came off of the plant to not die. His teammate covered him and killed the guy. And then when he got back on the plant, there's only 3 seconds left and he didn't have time. So if he'd have just committed to the plant, had trust in his teammate, and to be honest, just done the right thing, which is I have to commit to the plant.
Was it faveN that was working with that, or was it Hyped? I'm pretty sure it was Hyped.
You think it was Hyped? Okay, maybe. Ooh, that was clean from tabseN. Wow. Okay, maybe it was Hyped, but that's how it panned out, right? So, yeah, I understand the adrenaline, the pressure in a situation like that, but it was a huge mistake. A huge, huge mistake that's still got to be rattling in their brains right now.
Have you looked over to the ADR of tabseN? And the kills?
Oh, well, I have now. Bloody hell, 25 and 5.
And he's got 200 ADR.
That's
honestly
unbelievable.
For a second, I started second guessing myself. I was like, "Is that a bug? Is that normal?"
Yeah, I mean, he's been crazy consistent with these entries, especially towards middle, but that is wild. That is absolutely wild. For the IGL as well. Unreal. Zeus could have been nice, but Krimbo denies any opportunity of that one coming into fruition. So it should just be another clean round here for Big. They're definitely looking a little more comfortable here on their map pick. And 9 rounds definitely on the cards. 10 even likely. As Keto keeps picking them away.
That's honestly just a consolation prize if you're Gokushima. You get a kill in the back of someone's head and not really much to write home about. Now, Big potentially flirting with double digits, while our friends here at HOTU, they're feeling a little left out.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Up until a few minutes ago, you know, it was like 4-4, 5-4, and it looked like a pretty back and forth game, but suddenly it's all just been a tide in the favor of Big. Suddenly that T-side advantage is truly being flexed by Big. And I really want to see if HOTU can actually turn this around. Now, it's interesting that they've gone for a double op setup, and I want to see how they try and play this out. I'm expecting there to just be mid and A presence, because then you can potentially just leverage a solitary player on A who can kind of hold down the line by himself. Or you can maybe even see some aggro and AWP on B. Who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. These last few rounds, they've been the tabseN show. That double op setup, I mean, Gokushima, he's been a little bit absent from this game, but he hasn't had many opportunities to have this AWP. So now he's got one in hand. We'll see if he can really bring some damage to the table.
Yeah, okay, so not really any aggression with the AWP over towards middle. Instead, they're just sort of playing one AWP on each site. I think they're trying to double up on the firepower just to have that extra bit of oomph when it comes to fighting back.
definitely slower stuff here. Big knowing that they're going to be up against the buy. There's been plenty of rounds where they've been up against these shaky forces. And they've maybe felt a little more confident to make an early move. This time around, a minute on the clock, meticulously taking this middle control. It looks like it's going to be a B split. I'm interested by the fact that they don't actually aggress further through middle and try and wrap around. Instead, single-pronged approach. 4 players stacked up here, about to execute through main.
Oh, this is where the CTs have to shine. They have to turret. Flashbang delays the progress of the T's. And mizu has a nice little angle, and the smoke is able to get to. Gokushima makes that op work as well. Headshot with a sliver onto Hyped. And Krimbo suddenly is completely left out of the conversation. Beautiful hold from mizu. Uses the smoke perfectly to his advantage, and that little shot at the end on the Opera was just icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And HOTU just read that well. Not baited out by the aggression towards middle. Or, I say aggression, we'll call it presence, right? Stack up on the B site. The crossfires are perfect. The AWP's on the angle for the one player coming in from Canals, and then the other 4, they just walk right into the blender. 9-5. An opportunity for a 6th here for HOTU. If they can take it, then, yeah, they're not in a bad position to be ending the half on their opponent's pick. On the CT side as well, we know that a lot of teams have kind of lent towards playing the T side here a little bit on Anubis in recent months. Double AWP setup once again in play. And Big bringing out all the stops to try and make this happen.
Very slow round to start things off for Big. You know, that is a little uncharacteristic because you generally see them poke and prod at extremities of the map. And they've relatively been comfortable on aggressing middle. They just haven't quite done that this time around. Gokushima, his AWP is quickly overwhelmed by Keto. And that could have been the gap. The crack in the defense that they were looking for. Gokushima has been largely unsuccessful in bringing some of his performance onto Anubis. And Big will take full advantage of it. Now with HOTU sort of scrambling to see where that pressure is going to pile on, they can start to take advantage of this.
Well, it was a couple of rounds ago we pointed out tabseN hitting 25 frags. He's not moved from that stat line. But with 20 seconds left on this clock, they need the entries here towards the A site. Big opening shot from nitzie, but can't connect the second. tabseN jumps around, now needs to aggress for these fights, and he does take one, but the trade's there from Case. As they're stacked up, 10 seconds left, bottom in no man's land, and they just have to keep funneling in for this. faveN needs the frags, but the numbers still swinging in HOTU's favor. Biding time, and it's perfect. faveN with a nice headshot, but they have not got a chance when the last man's on the other side of the site. We're going to jump to a short break. We'll be back in the second half in just a moment.
why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. So why did you say goodbye? Quiet like the ocean, with the rumble running deep. This is how I see you, when you hide your feels from me. Why you heavy-hearted? Cut the silence, talk to me. Release your mind, get what you need. Easily, we've been falling in disbelief. I think I'm ready for another try, but this feels like the last time. So why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye. Why did you say goodbye? It's better to say goodbye.
Big is facing the threat of HOTU right now. A chance for HOTU to knock down the Titans into the lower bracket. Is that going to happen? While Deity and M&J on the mics to figure out whether or not that will.
Yeah, felt like Big got off to a really commanding lead, but things started to close up towards the end of the first half, and HOTU, with a bit of wind in their sails, looked to try and carry the momentum. Case charging forward, they've taken the mid control, and they're working their way into the A site. Krimbo's jewel, please though, take them a new one. And that's going to get things rolling nicely. tabseN and Hype chiming in. Krimbo can't quite find himself a third, but he's done his job. He's done it nicely. And Goku left with an impossible task that will be made even more impossible, if that's possible. I don't know. Double digits for Big and HOTU. Yeah, that's a bit of a rough one.
Honestly, that comes down to Krimbo actually saving Hype there, because Hype misses some of those crucial shots as they're walking in from middle, right? Misses maybe 5-6 shots, and by that time, you know, he's probably cooked already. But luckily for him, HOTU miss a few shots on him as well, and they're focused on Krimbo, but he makes those dualies work just so damn well. HOTU, though, still have a bit of a lifeline. They realize they're on the T side. No need to rush things. Can just run in with the Glocks and maybe just wait it out for those AKs. And honestly, if you want to come back on this map, you want to be on that terrorist side. You can easily crumble the economy of the CTs. Just those long rotation times as well make it so much harder to actually convert off of stacks and stuff. See how this one plays out. Hyped, playing the close angle. MP9. I can already hear the cha-chings as they start to... 2, 3, oops, switches over to
there
the...
it is. Oh, okay.
to the pocket MAC-10.
Ching, ching, ching. Cash register. Whole load of money for him. $1,500 there. Krimbo should be able to finish things off. They almost line up for him. A little bit messy, but there we go. All right. One of the last bullets in his belt. Puts things onto 11 here for Big. So a 5-round lead. HOTU, they'll pull the guns out. And they will be up against a little bit of a bonus here. So a chance for them to get their foot in the door. A chance for them to maybe pick up a couple of rounds. tabseN's ADR dropped off a little bit. Gone down from 200 to 155. But still nothing to grumble about. But signs of him slowing down is never a good thing. I think he was a big reason that they were able to take so many of those rounds in their first half.
Oh, unfortunately, the big game player has been taken out by Case. Suddenly, Big's chances in this round have exponentially dropped. Opening frag collected by HOTU, slowly now trying to work something out off the back of this. Problem is, are Big going to react? Will they try and reclaim some of the space they've lost? Hyped. Wanting to go around the corner with his MP9. Flashbang is great, is able to capitalize, switches over to the AK as well, and smokes it out. Realizes that he's done just enough to keep them afloat. No reason to try and contest this even further. A 4v4 is very palatable for the CT side, and with the time ticking down, the advantage slowly goes back the way of Big.
Yeah, I absolutely love that from Hype. So much discipline as well, as you say, for him to not overstay his welcome there. He's done what's required. He's upgraded his rifle. Now you just want to get back out of that. HOTU regrouping. About to hit towards this B site. Keto with good timing and a flash accompanied by faveN. This flank could be huge, though. swiftsteel's in a brilliant position. Just needs to get the timing right.
faveN going to have to be the big difference maker here, but he's missed quite a few shots, which means mizu and nitzie can suddenly move in. Krimbo and Hyped down to a 2-on-3, but this is still very doable. swiftsteel allows them to cross over. Hype, though, hits a pixel shot onto Swift, and suddenly we're down to Krimbo, 1-on-2, which turns into a none-on-2. mizu, beautiful work on the B side.
That's huge from swiftsteel, and he doesn't really get the credit for it, right? He creeps all the way through middle, goes for the wraparound towards the B site, and he just times it perfectly so that he actually takes contact at the same time as his teammates. Now, whilst he doesn't find the kills, he does a little bit of damage. He sells this distraction that just diverts all of the attention from the players on the big site. And instead of, them having this crossfire and being able to deal with the players coming in from main, they're all of a sudden distracted. They have to try and turn around. They get taken out from the sidelines. And, 11-7 the scoreline goes. They don't have money to reinvest, despite the fact the last round was a bit of a bonus. It was still an expensive one. And as Hyped buys right into an AWP, everyone else will just be on pistols and Kevlar. There'll be enough cash for a proper investment in the next. But a good opportunity for HOTU to take 8 hit. It's 30 seconds already on the clock.
I'm already looking very impressed, or feeling very impressed by Big, because their flash timings in the previous round were so perfect that I really thought they were going to be able to close it out. Now, if they can continue to sort of have that teamwork going into the rest of the game, I have high hopes. But HOTU, the ball is slowly rolled its way into their court. If they can manage to make this 8, suddenly a 3-round deficit with that T-side advantage, that's a lot for Big to swallow.
It definitely felt better in some of these early round situations. There it is again. Hyped getting off to a good start. Spray transfer from nitzie. That's pretty impressive at that kind of range. And Gokushima catching out the rotations as well. Keto creeping up with a 5-7. Does manage to slip through the smoke. Might have a bit of an element of surprise as he's found himself a rifle as well. And they all seem to be pretty focused on faveN. But it doesn't matter. mizu finds the kill. nitzie finishes off the final. And 11-8 the scoreline goes. As I said before, enough money to go for a proper investment here. Hyped, having bought that off in the last, won't have enough for another one in this round. So it'll be rifles by the looks of things. No. Okay, another half investment. Wow. Okay, they are really mismanaging this economy. This is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I think they do rely quite a bit on the AWP, and they should, because, you know, Anubis is just a whole lot easier to play when you've got that AWP factor. tabseN gets overwhelmed by the flashbang, and Swift and mizu will quickly overwhelm him. Hype trying to make that P250 work, but simply not enough bullets to fly out to make a kill happen. Keto eventually gets mowed down by the back 10 as well, and although faveN gets away with a couple decent ones, Krimbo will be left all alone to his devices with a Nova, which could have potentially done more if it was an XM, but next time.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. I mean, I completely agree with you, right? Fair enough. It's not a buy round without that AWP on Hyped, right? Very, very important piece to the puzzle for a map like Anubis on the CT side. But if that's the case, don't buy it on the force buy round, right? Save your pennies. And yeah, it's kind of cost them an extra round there that it didn't necessarily need to. And this kind of big old gap that they had, this big old buffer that they've been working with, is really, really starting to close. HOTU back in play, tabseN on the rifle. He's definitely slowed down though since moving over to this defense. faveN pressing forward. Oh, Keto, that's so unfortunate. faveN's timing only allows him one, and the B bomb site crumbles again.
I'm not even sure if Big want to have this conversation just yet. I think they're relying on seeing whether or not tabseN can get that early kill. If he does, maybe they can attempt that 3 versus 3, but if not, if that early kill doesn't come through, then they don't even want a part of this. This AWP, much better value in the next round. tabseN, though, just keeping 1 foot in the door, dipping his toes in the water, just seeing if the temperature is good enough for him to hop into a retake.
No. Water's
Quickly
too hot.
realizes,
It's
yeah,
red
it's
hot.
Thought the general euphemism was to say that it's too cold.
Well, it is, isn't it? But it's definitely not cold. There's a bomb on the site. There's a whole load of terrorists. I'd call that the opposite of cold. But I wouldn't jump in a pool if it was bubbling. Unless it's a hot tub, of course. But if it's boiling, boiling hot, it's going to burn.
Hot tub adventures aside, 10-11, and HOTU are now quickly contesting Big scoreline. A very decent shot for them here to potentially tie it out, but they still have to get past this AWP fight. Unfortunately for Big, it's not really been a huge contender in this game. You know, Hype's had a lackluster performance on Mirage. He's missed quite a few shots on Anubis as well. And although he's going positive in this game, it's still a lot of responsibility that doesn't really have anyone to wield it. Keto, good collection early on. Hector, another flashbang to go through. And nitzie will capitalize on it. A few shots go through as well, which will nail down faveN's HP. Actually, not a whole lot.
Oh,
that
wow.
second nade from tabseN definitely puts nitzie in the graveyard. A 4-on-3, and after smoke is going to start to fade. The duel starts to take place as well, and Krimbo will come out on top. mizu quickly contesting middle. Hype wanting to dip his toes in the water here, but he simply realizes that he would allow it to turn into a 2v2 if he tried to get a little too aggressive. 3-on-2 now.
No, Gokushima.
Oh, beautiful shot by Gokushima. Doesn't even overextend, so he's not part of the equation when it comes to Hype being scoped in on him. A 2v2. How is this going to unfold?
Oh my goodness. Oh, Gokushima, that's a shame, but mizu fights back.
Oh.
Goal just doesn't see faveN. Has to try and spin to get it done. It's messy in the 1v1, but he just can't convert it. Big will be able to take it to 12, but the economy fragile again. Another scrappy round, and HOTU have got loads of cash to reinvest. I thought the round was done. When Gokushima started to aggress like that into heaven, and he had the bomb on his back, I'm thinking, well, he's facing into 2. That's it. This is where this round ends. But the fact that he's actually been able to find that pick onto tabseN and then slip away untraded, Hype's just not got the wide enough angle to actually take that gunfight, is just beautiful. Reads his opponents like a book, but unfortunately walks right out into the open, into their crosshairs later on in the round. So maybe makes up for it. Big opening onto faveN.
Great opening from Hyped, you know, he's had to chime in now, and he's finally doing it. Smoke starts to fade. Case will get the advantage, though, as it's fading, because he's sitting inside the smoke. tabseN, still a solitary defender on the B side, and he will be warranting some rotations to come through, but now the T is starting to overrule a little bit. The Molotov doesn't deter Case. He's able to creep past. Hype gets caught. mizu adds one more to the tally as well, and suddenly, Krimbo's left all alone. Even that kill isn't going to allow him an outlet into the site. Very chaotic round.
Krimbo kind of has to save here. But you can see he's already in a pretty dangerous position. He's already being hunted here too. nitzie wants to try and get rid of that sniper, so Krimbo has to exit very, very carefully. There's still a fair bit of time on this bomb, so still a fair bit of time to hunt him down. So tick all the boxes, clear all the corners. So people will get away with this one. So AWP will be carried into the next. 12 to 11. Not a lot of money to buy around it. So by the looks of things, we might see a couple of pistols come out, something like that, but nothing too substantial here for Big. And the likelihood is unless either Krimbo or unless he drops it over to Hyped. Yeah, okay, so he drops it over to Hyped. Unless he can have a big impact with this sniper, we'll see this scoreline tie up. Remember, by the way, this is Big's map pick. HOTU are already a map up in the series, and they're the massive underdogs. They're exceeding expectations.
Yeah, I think the narrative we were talking about is slowly materializing into the actual story. Hyped. Has a bit of a chance at a pot shot early on. Molotov is going to deter them from falling back, but Hyped wastes no time in getting out of there. tabseN quickly taken care of by that AK from swiftsteel, and suddenly the map is kind of split.
Well, him not being able to find that opening shot means that, yeah, there's no early advantages that go their way, and as his teammates fall like flies, nothing more comes of it. Even Scout won't be able to hit the shot. Krimbo does take one with the 5-7, but instantly traded. Hyped, please go and save that sniper. This round is a lost cause.
Are they gonna allow him to, though? Oh, I think they spotted him. I think they know where he is. Hyped. Thankfully for him, he does manage to hit the shot on the exits, but there's so much more where that came from. King's trying to bait out the shots, pops his head. There's a third player there, and man, that is just a little too overwhelming when you're trying to save the op. 12 to 12. HOTU already a map up, equalizing the numbers, and Big, this is one of their final chances to still stay relevant in this game.
Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, and I mean the pressure there. Happy to expend as many men as required to get rid of that AWP. They've got so much money in the bank, and they've got the confidence as well to go with it. No AWP in play. It's so impactful getting rid of Hyped Sniper. Just the rifles to work with. Not a whole lot of util either. Just feel pretty spongy right now. Kokushima boosted up. No one facing into middle as of yet, but tabseN just deployed smoke. Remember, he was 25 to 5. Now sat 28 to 13. So still going above and beyond. Still top fragging on the server. But definitely not putting up the kind of numbers that he was before. And again, he's just caught with his pants down.
Yeah, that molly didn't do him any favors. Doesn't realize that they've crept so far up middle. And Krimbo doesn't realize that they're already in the house. Unable to defend. And suddenly, it's all starting to look bleak for Big. I'm not sure if they want to even try and flirt with this 3 versus 5 retake.
See, okay, will be taken out. But again, this kind of economic damage is pretty irrelevant. For Big here, it's just about saving these rifles. I don't think they care too much about finding the kills to go with it. It's going to be 13 here, though, for HOTU. And if they can find these rifles, it's going to force Big onto a very weak buy, potentially even an eco in this next round, and allow them even closer to the map and series point case. Oh, he's going to spot it. Yes, he wins the gunfight. Oh, that's insane. Only one rifle carried across. That's brutal.
And that puts them in such a difficult economic spot. Not necessarily that it's completely broken economy, but now they have to choose, make a decision, right? Do they mess with their economy now to try and quickly stop HOTU in their tracks? Or do they double down, allow HOTU to get to 14 before they pull out the big guns for one last ride? I mean, they've got an M4. Hype can drop another one. Maybe they can throw together some FAMASs, but then that puts them out of commission on round 15. Or at least a contest for 15 when it comes to HOTU. I think when we talked about this, we talked about how Anubis could potentially be just a rite of passage for Big, and that HOTU would have to do it on map number 3. That's not happening. They're in it to win it. They're living in the present. They want to end Anubis, and Gokushima wants to be the first aggressor into the B site. AK moves in from swiftsteel, is able to collect 2. They catch the boost, so they know there's still a player lurking around. faveN does some damage, but it simply doesn't materialize into enough. Rotations now coming with Eagles. There it is! tabseN gets away with 2 crispy ones, and suddenly it's a lot more palatable. Very, very doable scenario. tabseN might have just bought them a lifeline, but they need to capitalize on it now.
How many times does tabseN need to buy these lifelines for them?
13-14 might need to bump that up even more. Gokushima might be on the server, but it's tabseN that needs to go Super Saiyan right now. Coming in from main. Just the Eagle. Needs to pay the bills right now. There it is. Oh, nearly connects the headshot, but unfortunately, mizu has some Kaioken off his own. 14-12. Now Big. One last ride. One last showing. If they want to stop HOTU.
This guy dropping all the anime references. I don't know any of them. Full
You
teams
just
as
had
well.
to grow up with it.
Ah, fine. Fine. Culture thing. Double up setup. Hyped in Krimbo to work with them. Gokushima with one on the other side of things, but he's been pretty powerful with it in these last couple of rounds. This is for 15. This is for series point for HOTU. Early spread around the map. Big opening from Hype. That's through the smoke as well. Battle of the Titans goes his way as the AWP prevails.
Nade from Keto. Ooh, nice try from Case to try and connector, but no! mizu, he nearly had the drop on 2 players, but one of his feet touches the molly. And that suddenly puts him out of contention. mizu had such a decent chance to potentially turn things around. Ooh. Unfortunately, not a whole lot that nitzie can do. Big, they're going to continue to delay the Grim Reaper. Continue to give him the wrong address. Just to see if they can try and claw this one out.
That kind of felt like Mirage in a nutshell until they actually put themselves onto map point, and then it was like, okay, yeah, maybe they can actually get this done. But yeah, it did feel like they were on the back foot, and they were constantly sort of pulling out these big pocket rounds just to deny things, just to deny their opponents from taking it their way. Hype and super aggressive here in middle, needs to be careful with a boost over the top, but Shima could have taken him out, the support's there. It does act as a bit of a deterrent, so could have been a big early win, fight there to push it HOTU's way. Not quite converted.
Man, that's so chaotic of an early round that doesn't actually net any kills, not even a whole lot of damage. These AWPs went against each other, so many bullets flying into middle, but nothing connecting. Not even like they didn't have full vision. Gokushima being able to creep up on top of the smoke courtesy of the boost actually gave him a clear line of sight. But now, HOTU, they're scratching their heads. They're unsure of where they want to eventually take this fight. nitzie, though, feeling a little lost and walks straight into the crosshairs of an AWP. Keto on the other side is making quick work of 2, but Case has suddenly put them back on the map. 3 versus 3. tabseN coming in from CT. This is going to be a difficult B-side defense. Which is over target. swiftsteel, he's done an incredible job at making things harder. Hype tries to creep through the molly, but suddenly is going to start chipping away at his feet a little too much. A 2-on-3 with 2 AWPs. Surely they don't want to argue with this.
The issue here really was the bomb with tabseN on that B site as well. I thought him maybe finding a kill would add a real spanner in the works, but the fact that he loses his fight, pulls the rotations over, means that Gokushima can just grab that bomb, walk into an MTA bomb site, and that's round done and dusted. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Map and series point here for HOTU, as Big have to back away and save these 2 rifles. There's just not the money on Krimbo to invest into the next. And the double AWP setup, just too valuable. It'd be $12,000 plus thrown in the bin here if they tried to make something happen in this one. And it's definitely not the weapons you want for a retake scenario either. So there we go, HOTU. They're almost there. They're almost there.
I really appreciate this from HOTU, using their own tactical timeout to pace themselves. Even though they've got the advantage, they realize that they cannot throw it away. They recognize that Big made a mistake in the previous map that allowed them to even make it 1-0 to begin with, right? We could have been seeing a 1-0 for Big right now. Throwback to the fact that it could have been a 16-14 had the bomb been planted a second earlier. Went into overtime, became a HOTU game. Again, so many cases where HOTU are being dragged out of the mud by just some individual brilliances. And that's not to take, that's not to say that Big have just been overpowering them as a team. No, individual brilliance is the highlight of Big at the moment. tabseN going 30 and 16. A tall order, and he's delivering. Unfortunately, not too many of those kills have come in the second half. That's when they need them. Getting aggressive. Too much utility eventually obscures his vision enough for Gokushima to catch him uncontested. Down to the 5-on-4.
That's a massive opening kill, and Hype's been a lot more with it this game as well. Last map, an early pick onto Hype, especially when they were on that CT side, was almost inevitable. It was something that was happening every single round, but this time, it's worth its weight in gold as they start to press towards the A-bomb site. Krimbo does find himself one, takes a lot of damage on the mollies though, and they're not going to press off of this. They actually wait for the secondary flashbangs before they start to work their way out. Big headshot from nitzie. There's another from swiftsteel, and this has got to be it.
Bomb now being planted 2 versus 4. This is one that they cannot bow their head out of. faveN being able to find a kill, though, cannot find the duel right under him. Kido, he was brilliant in map number 1. Can he try and close this out? 1-on-4. 34 kills on Mirage, but unfortunately not again on Anubis. HOTU being able to knock Big down into the lower bracket, 2-0. If we expected a win from HOTU, it had to be 2-1, right? Anubis almost a rite of passage for Big, but that's not the case. HOTU have proven their mettle, even with someone like tabseN.